Otombo is the Deputy Minister for Defense and Public Affairs. And Otombo will officially introduce to you our guests for today's press briefing. But before he comes out, I'd like to read for you the official funeral arrangements for the late Professor Dr. Claudia Sawyer. Professor Dr. Claudia Sawyer, former president of the interim government of the National Unity of the Republic of Liberia, Friday, March 25, 2022, the body of the late former president will arrive at the Rabat International Airport on board SN Brussels SN241 on Tuesday, March 29 to Wednesday, March 30, 2022. The Book of Condolence for the late Professor Sawyer will be opened at the Centennial Memorial Pavilion from 1 o'clock post-Meridian to 4 o'clock post-Meridian. The attached special protocol for signing. On Wednesday, March 13, 2022, the Governor Commission Day will be celebrated. The legacy of Professor Dr. Claudia Sawyer, that which will be held at the Monrovia City Hall at 11 o'clock anti-Meridian. On Thursday, March 31, 2022, there will be a day of honor at the University of Liberia main campus. Friday to April 1st, 2022, at 12 noon, the body will be conveyed on appropriate military escort from the Samuel H. Carter Funeral Home in Cinco to the St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, 10th Street, Cinco, for home final visitation. From 2 o'clock post-Meridian to 4 o'clock post-Meridian. At 4 o'clock post-Meridian, the body will be conveyed from the Trinity Cathedral on Broad Street, where wakekeeping will be held from 5 o'clock post-Meridian to 9 o'clock post-Meridian. Saturday, April 2nd, 2022, funeral rites will be held over the remaining of the late Professor Sawyer at the Centennial Memorial Pavilion at 10 o'clock anti-Meridian, to be followed by interment at the Cassell Memorial Lot, Broadview, Monterey County. As a mark of last respect and tribute to Dr. Sawyer, the late former president, interim government of National Unity of the Republic of Liberia, the president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manoia, has declared a period of mourning, during which time the national ensign of the Republic will be flown at half-mast from all public buildings from Tuesday, March 29, 2022 to Saturday, April 2, 2022. Protocol for signing of the Book of Condolence for Professor Claudia Sawyer. The Book of Condolence will be opened at the Centennial Memorial Pavilion on Tuesday, March 29, 2022, 1 p.m. to 1:30. The President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manoia, and members of the Cabinet. 1:35 to 2:15 p.m. The Vice President, members of the Senate will sign. 2:30 to 3 p.m. The Speaker, members of the House of Representatives will sign. 3:05 to 3:15 p.m. is honored the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of Liberia will sign. At 3:20 to 4 p.m., former head of state and former vice heads of state, former first ladies will sign. This announcement is signed by Antoinette M. Wallo, acting chief of protocol. I'd like to invite the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs, who will officially introduce you our guests.
Thank you. that will come here. Before I introduce to you our guest, I need to ask you to stand as we remember and observe the moment of silence for the passing of our former president, Dr. May his soul and the souls of all faithful departed rest in perfect peace. Please have a seat. I'd like to welcome you to our regular press briefing on behalf of the Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Honorable Julius Sarwolo, who is away on the national duty. You are most welcome. And to our media colleagues who have listened to the itinerary, please make your way at the airport as we receive the body of our former interim president on tomorrow. You just have to do yourself that justice. Today we will be discussing education. But before I introduce to you our guest, let me just inform you that our president is away in Dubai, and his trip in Dubai is to attend the Liberia Day at the Dubai Expo 2020, which will be held on Saturday, March 26. And I'd also like to inform you, in this country, if you want power, if you want political power, live an example that people should follow your footsteps. All of us believe in the Bible. We have two religions, or more so, the Muslims and the Christians, but we Christians, we say, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good work. And the Maxim says, he who comes to equity must come with what? Clean hands. With all the references I'm making, you already got to know what I'm talking about. Somebody is being arrested who is seeking state power. And so let the bring people here that if you want a state power, even at your home, live a life. Those of all who are in public offices, we must live life that people will respect that public office. Those of us who want to aspire to become something else, let us put our house in order. You can't want to become a president of this country and somebody being arrested in another man's land. Don't ask me who I'm talking about. I will not go detail, but you already know that. So the Liberian people's eyes are open. The Liberian people's eyes are open. You can't be a cheater somewhere and come here and be that doing person. You can't be duping your own client somewhere else and want to be a president. Before we get to know the next thing, you'll say our country. People say captive. So today's press briefing will be addressed by the University of Liberia president, the distinguished statesman, children's father. He used to be the consultant for the Federation of Liberian Youth. And he know one day God blessed with us. He is a father of the university, Dr. Julius Sarwolo Nelson. Dr. Nelson will speak on the current reform ongoing at the University of Liberia and other academic programs expected to be added to the curriculum. He will also provide clarity on the issues of free tuition and other fees. at the university. Dr. Nelson is here along with, and no stranger to this place, a distinguished statesman, a counselor at law, a friend and brother, Councillor Norris Stewart, Vice President for UL Relations. And they both will speak on issue coming from the University of Liberia. Recently, you followed a Facebook page or post, and people are spreading lies. I've been at the university since I know myself out of high school. All my degrees I got it from the University of Liberia. And I'm grateful to the University of Liberia and to this country. And I know how much I've been paying at the University of Liberia. That place is for the poor people. And so they have come to explain the program. The work they do there. So if you want to attend the university, I bet you go there. That place is a good place to go. Also in attendance is an educator, a statesman, Latin Dato, Deputy Minister for Administration, Ministry of Education. He will speak on the upcoming National Task Force Teachers Award program and the RX program. He is here along with Dr. Kaksel and my distinguished, other of you should know him also. Dr. No, not the Arrested Kaksel. He is here along also with Dr. Barry. He is here along with Dr. Cecilia Kassel from the University of Liberia, Dean of the College of Education. Clean woman with clean hands. It's not the other Kassel who is duping people around here. Yeah, I need to make that clear. It's not that other Kassel who is being arrested in Georgia, the USA. I hope you got that clear. So this woman, she comes from our own home, University of Liberia. And they also here along with our distinguished brother and friend, man has gone high. You know, when I see my friends getting a doctorate degree, then I become, frightened. Dr. Barry. I'll get my doctorate degree. Also in attendance will be Honorable Augustine Monbara, the people that deal with our fish, the fishery sector. He's a Deputy Director General for administration at the National Fishery and Aquaculture Authority, NAFA, and he will speak on the rebranding of the entity and its contribution to the fishing industry, as well as its latest pending program at the University of Liberia. My distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, without much I'd like to invite to this stage the president. And the good thing about the Papa is a pastor, is a prelate. And you also came with a lawyer. So the pastor and lawyer coming up here, Dr. Nelson and Councillor 12, the station here.
Thank you so much. Minister Jalawa Tompo, other ministers of government present, members of the University of Liberia family. I know we stood already for our former president, But let me make you sit, and since I'm here in the name of the University of Liberia, to share with you that we are also in mourning for the passing of our 13th president, Professor Dr. Emmett Adolphus, we call him Achievable Dennis. And so that we'll ask you to be seated in the moment of silence, and then we'll continue what we are here to do. May his soul rest in perfect peace, and light perpetual continue to shine upon him. We are happy to be here today to share with the people of Liberia and our friends on the international community about our gratefulness to the government of the Republic of Liberia for our continuous support to the University of Liberia family, and our school doors are open for the sons and daughters of the Republic to engage themselves in the teaching and learning process and academic life can continue at the University of Liberia. I know by now you know we just celebrated our 102nd commencement convocation at the University of Liberia, where we put out 2,000 plus or minus 200 students in various disciplines here in Liberia to go out into the world and contribute their best to the peace, unity, development of the Republic of Liberia. So we are happy today, but especially so in our midst, the one who is inviting us to this podium just happened to be one of the graduates from the University of Liberia. So they happy, let's give him a big hand for his journey at the university. That he will come out with a graduate degree, perfecting his portfolio as he continues to serve the people of Liberia. The UL, the lux in tenebrae, the light in darkness. I know we keep going, and there are different ways, different perspectives, how you view the University of Liberia. But we are here to share to the best of our knowledge what we do at the university. And I also want to bring you all greetings from the administrators, faculty, staff, and students of the university, that we find ourselves as a family keeping the light burning in the Republic of Liberia. We tell ourselves that we are the macrocosm of the greater Liberian society, and that is why we want to invite those of you who are looking for appropriate tertiary education to find yourself at the University of Liberia. We are proud that a lot of the graduates of the University of Liberia are in high and low places in the Republic of Liberia, contributing to the development of the Republic of Liberia. There are several issues to talk about, but I want to focus on some, and I will invite my Vice President of UN Relations to focus on another one. I want to start with the free tuition policy that you are highlighting. Those who talk about the free tuition policy don't have an idea what we went through before that policy was announced by His Excellency Dr. George Manuel Weah on the campus of the University of Liberia. Before that time, the university family, and especially so, the Office of Student Affairs, had a headache to run behind 200 to 300 sponsors of students at the University of Liberia, most of whom were not able to pay, most of whom that will wait to be paid by the Ministry of Finance before they will give consideration to paying the fees of students. You, the sponsors, made the announcement that you will sponsor these students, and the time for payment, then we at the university administration have to run behind you for the payment or announcement you made to pay your fees. And therefore, there were always problems and conflict between the university, because when we did not receive the payment, we will not give you their grade sheets. When students don't have their grade sheet, there will be different issues, and we have struggled with the registration at the University of Liberia. Today, we are happy to say, because of this government interest in the educational sector and the University of Liberia, our registration process was digitized, that our students can be anywhere in the world to do their registration to go to the university. The first time we tried that in recent time, especially so we had the online registration, in 1 week, 8,000 plus students registered. That was a miracle because before that time, in 3 weeks, we were still below 1,000 student registration. Additionally, the pronouncement of the free tuition policy was another effort by this government to respond to the challenges of the sons and daughters of our mothers and fathers who were getting their children attending at the University of Liberia. Today, we don't have to run beyond 300%. We go directly to the Ministry of Finance. There's the appropriate collection $4 per credit. We got 18 to 20,000 students. We do the math. We send our invoice to the Minister of Finance, and then we are paid for those undergraduate students at the University of Liberia. Is it perfect? No. We are working to the point with all the different stakeholders that since the government of Liberia is paying your tuition, if for any reason as we go forward, is it possible for the Senate and the House to institutionalize this process, and those that will be beneficiary of that program, if for some reason they pay for this semester and you make the choice to fail in your courses, to repeat them, then you ought to be the one paying for those courses instead of the people of Liberia. So for us, as the president of the University of Liberia, now it is better to run beyond one person, the Minister of Finance, concerning the free tuition policy, than to run beyond all the regulated caucuses, various ministries, various individuals, including students of the university, especially so the University of Liberia Student Union, that have to negotiate with the Office of Student Affairs without money, but want to sponsor over 4,000 to 8,000 students every semester. You didn't know the headache we've been going through. Today, we got 18,000 at that time. Before the policy, 12,000 students will register, the other 8,000 will not register. Today, with the free tuition policy, our registration goes between 18,000 to 20,000 students every time. Because the government free tuition policy, free tuition policy have been assisting undergraduate students at the University of Liberia. What do the students have to do? They pay their registration fee, $2,250 Liberian dollars for a 4-month education drinking for the founding of lecturers at the University of Liberia for the whole semester. You want to put that in US dollars, depending on the rate, it's about $14.87. $50 US for a whole semester, make it 1 year, $30 US for the children of Liberia to be in tertiary education at the University of Liberia. Is it a miracle for us? Yes. Do we regret that the policy is in place? No. We will improve it, but we thank God that the government of Dr. George Manuel Weah, looking at the interests of the sons and daughters, the masters who go to the university, made a decision to organize and institutionalize or made this pronouncement, not only for the university, but other public institutions of higher learning in Liberia. Let me move on to what we are doing now in curriculum reform, ICT technology. I know by now, those of you who don't know, the university is a blended learning university that suggests that we have face-to-face classes and we also have online classes. There are students of the university, some of them in Mali, other places in the country, who are in class when we have the academic semester. They didn't have that privilege before. But thank God, directly or indirectly, in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, we had to invest in e-learning online education to be institutionalized at the University of Liberia. That is why we made a decision some time ago that the university going forward, looking at what is happening in other countries, other universities, that we have to make the decision to have a blended learning university so that the sons and daughters of the Republic in tertiary education at the university will be in school once our doors are open. We learned the experience from Ebola. We learned the lesson from COVID-19. We want to prepare ourselves while we are still dealing with COVID-19. We are not sure which other disease will be visiting the world. But with a blended learning university system, we are able in those situations to still keep the teaching and learning process going on at the University of Liberia. I'm happy to report that in the past 2 to 3 years, curriculum reform in all the disciplines at the university have taken shape. Today, we have already approved a new medical program that will ensure students come from high school, do the pre-med, and spend another 3 years in the pre-medical program, 3 years in the clinical program, and graduate in 7 years from the University of Liberia instead of the past, where you have to have a bachelor degree and then another 4 years before you can graduate with a medical degree here in the Republic of Liberia. That is a major transformation at the University of Liberia. We need to share all the other disciplines. Those who are in biological sciences and in chemistry, there are other tracks that have been put in place for our students to not believe that when you do biology and chemistry, everything leads to the medical college. No, there are other possibilities. And therefore, we are happy that students are making use of these different opportunities here at the University of Liberia. You know by now that we have the public health program. You know by now we have the environmental science, climate change and biodiversity undergraduate and graduate level. At this commencement, we put out the first batch of graduate students in environmental science, climate change and biodiversity at the University of Liberia. We are thankful to the United Nations Development Program, the Environmental Protection Agency, and our partners that have worked with us to achieve that at the University of Liberia. We have already put in place a statistics program at the University of Liberia, curriculum approved, and right now we have 11 students, faculty, who are studying for their graduate degree and one in their postgraduate for degrees in statistics to be able to prepare them to be faculty members of our statistics program at the University of Liberia. Entrepreneurship is another program at the minor level in the A. Romeo Horton College of Business and Public Administration at the University of Liberia. I know we are doing a lot, but let me make use of the time and invite Councillor Norris Square, who will focus on our 75th anniversary and the international conference we held in February, and the next one we are planning with Princeton Theological Seminary that will be in October here in Liberia for another international conference on the anti-slavery movement. Councillor Twelve, let me invite you now.
You know, before Councillor Tua comes, I came close to the woman since 1999. And you see his voice never one day came down. Even today, his birthday, he's shouting. Please, I'd like to, before Councillor Tua comes up, just stand with me for a moment. And I just wish him a happy birthday. I know this is unusual, but please, ladies and gentlemen, please. Yes. You will not sing, but just say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
That's the question.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasing pleasure to be here in particular, given the fact that I spent slightly over 7 years of my professional sojourn in government here at this ministry. So whenever I have the opportunity to return, I feel a sense of nostalgia. Good to see you all here, the media, always supportive of what the government continues to do by virtue of your role to provide information to the public. As well, Mr. Minister, thank you very much, our distinguished platform guests. I just want to say, to reiterate what the president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Julius Sarwolo so well articulated. about the changes that are taking place at the University of Liberia. And these changes, a lot of them are long overdue, given the fact that we just acknowledged and celebrated the 71st anniversary of the founding of the University of Liberia last April 15. The University of Liberia transitioned from Liberia College, which was the forerunner, to the University of Liberia on February 15, 1951. So this, on February 15, made the University of Liberia 71-year-old. These are not no small years to be in existence. And if you look at the progress that the institution has made over the years, relative to its age, and when you look at other institutions in the sub-region, sometimes it call the university's progress into question. So we decided to celebrate in terms of looking at where the University of Liberia has come from Liberia College, which was, at the time, providing any form of higher education to Liberian citizens for 89 years before the transition to Liberia College or University of Liberia. So we celebrated in grand style. We had a team called the UF Renaissance. You know, the word Renaissance encapsulates where you've come from. But it also takes into consideration your present state of affairs. So we wanted to look at the university's past and then its present. And then ultimately, Renaissance also takes you into what? The future. And so the University of Liberia has been the nation's highest institution of learning that has trained and continues to train men and women who currently occupy important positions in our country, from teachers to doctors to lawyers, just about. It has played and continues to play a pivotal role. And so we want to recognize our contribution to the national capability needs of this country. How do we respond to those needs, especially in the 21st century? The needs have changed, have evolved. The demands on our country now require new skill sets, new capability enhancements. We cannot continue to provide education the way it was provided in the 1950s and the 60s. The 21st century has given us enormous information and knowledge that we have to capitalize on. So we're thinking about that in terms of fitting and situating the University of Liberia to meet those needs. And so the president said in his opening statements, the new programs we've added and what these new programs will do to complement the current ones, and how do we prepare the new generation of young people that are choosing the University of Liberia as their destination for post-secondary education. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to administer our entrance and placement exam. The interest in the entrance and placement exam, particularly so since the pronouncement of the free tuition policy, has really intensified. So there are a lot of young people now selecting the University of Liberia as their first choice. So our entrance exam is very competitive. It's not difficult, it's very competitive. So we encourage students to come to the University of Liberia where you have more opportunities and one of the best and brightest to come, because that's where the taxpayers' money is, being expended. So it's your money. We just accepted, new group of students. And so people are benefiting from the tuition-free policy. This commencement, the 1 or 2 commencement, we put out over 2,000 students. I have to tell you, the current students now and those who just graduated are the beneficiaries of the tuition-free policy. And so this policy has helped tremendously in terms of attracting students to the university, in terms of keeping students in the university, and we have to make it work, we have to make it better, we have to improve upon it, as the president said. So folks, you will hear all kinds of things about the University of Liberia, the negative criticism, sometimes. But those of us who work at the University of Liberia are very serious about the work we do, and we put a lot of time in it. We pay particular attention to the quality that we want to give. We're not, perfect. We have a vision to make our university competitive. And one of the things that we're working on now is to add more programs, but to also increase the number of academic degrees we issue in terms of terminal degrees. So we are right now having a fruitful conversation with the University of Sierra Leone. There are several partnerships to begin our PhD program in education. We're also in discussions with the University of Ibadan in Nigeria to introduce masters in economics. A law school is contemplating on introducing a master's in law. So we are constantly thinking. The medical school or school of health sciences has, worked on bringing a dentistry program. The needs of our country, I have to tell you, are enormous. And some of our people don't have the financial resources to always seek. It's so expensive to go abroad to seek, whether it's medical care or it's pursue advanced degree. So we have to create conditions, and make our institutions better and affordable without necessarily compromising quality. So we're very glad to be here today. We certainly look forward to more engagements with you. We have some questions, burning questions, to clear up some of the misinformation. Certainly the president, as you know, is very student-centered and has several years of experience in working with young people. And he will answer those questions, and definitely I'm here to also provide those answers that may clear up some of the confusion. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
I can imagine my friend standing before the Supreme Court bar and pleading a case. His station transforming. Also, he's no stranger to this place. He was here before. He has moved to another level. Every time you see your friend, that constructive journalist is in some of us. Every time you see your friend moving to another level, you want to follow suit. You see somebody moving to the law profession, you want to follow. Somebody who you are in the same society to be the person, the counselor, that should be your thinking. And I'm particularly grateful that the university is transforming under the able leadership of Dr. Nancy. Today we are talking education. And so I'd like to invite to this stage a statesman, a man who brought RP bachelor degree in this country. For Latin Doctor, Deputy Minister of Administration, and he will come along with Dr. Cecilia Capser and Dr. Dr. Capser and Dr. Boyle. But first, I'd like to introduce our doctor to the stage.
Good morning. It's still good morning. Afternoon is sharp 12 o'clock. It's good to be with the press. To let you know what's going on in our sector. And my coincidence today is Education Day. Everybody from the education sector is here. So permit me to stand on existing protocols as I will go through a few things. And then Dr. Cassell and Dr. Bonnie will come to echo on the last point that I have here, to give you more detail and insight about the National Teachers Award Program and what that means for our country. So sitting and listening to Council and Dr. Nelson, you can't help but appreciate how far we've come as a country, especially at the higher education level. With the mother institution of the Republic making such advancements, Liberia has a future. One of the biggest challenges we have in the educational sector, one of the reasons why I decided to move back to Liberia is because when I first did my analysis done in 2005, I went to Washington, D.C. for an education conference. And somewhere in the middle of the conference, I saw an elderly man who waved me over. He said to me, he said, "You're a young Liberian, but your passion for education is so strong. Try to come home one day and help." And we jokingly said, I said, when you go home, you send an invitation, I will come. And he did. Former education minister, who's one of my mentors, Untitled Chapter. And when I came to Liberia, one of the first things I realized was the limited choices that was available to Liberian students. So if you go to the university, you get accounting and you get sociology, then you either have to choose between accounting and sociology, right? But to get that today, the more choices we provide for the Liberian society, the more experts we will be. Sometimes people just do courses or go into profession because that's what's available. Sometimes your real passion is not in your country, so you can't do what you better want to do. So you do what you have to do. So congratulations to the University of Liberia to continue to elevate the standards. Today I want to talk about just three things, and then that will come and help me. We kept telling you about the RISE project. The RISE project, you know, sometimes to get money hard, very hard. It goes through a lot of negotiations, you go back and forth, you go to Washington, D.C., you talk for hours, you come back to Liberia, you talk for hours. When you work and work and work, it takes years. And that was one of the reasons we kept promising that the RISE project for Liberia would start. We're happy to say that the RISE project is not good. There are parts of the project that are, you know, in full speed, and there are other parts of the project that are in development that will be rolled out very soon. And one of the key parts of the project that I wanted to let you know about is the developmental aspect. Since the 1960s, and I think if I ask the question, only maybe two people in the room will put a hand up. How many of us were born 1960? I think only the 60s. So I told you, only 2 people in the room. So since the 1960s, we've never renovated public schools in this country. None of us were born. She's laughing. But under this president, Dr. George Mane, we are doing just that with aid and help from our international partners. The RISE project is a World Bank grant, $47 million given to Liberia to do and improve several sectors in education. And one of that was to renovate schools. So as we speak right now, the renovation of all public high school is taking place. If you go across the country right now, if you start at public high schools, you will see renovation taking place. And every public high school have different challenges. So as you go around, you will see renovation, and I encourage you to please go around and see for yourself the level of renovation that is taking place to improve the environment. The environment plays a very cardinal role when it comes to learning. If people say, oh, you can learn anywhere, you can learn anywhere, but how effective can you learn anywhere? And you're in a classroom where people are, you get that? You're in a classroom where really you can't learn. And some of these major challenges are now being resolved under this government. And let me say, because sometimes my words can get chapter and get through as a public high school. Yeah. And I have to be before, so I'm careful. I say all public schools. I say all public high schools. Everybody in parentheses says high schools. The last time you told what it says more to actually tell the public what I said. And also, public high schools are being renovated as we speak. And that's something that we as a country should be very proud of. Because of that, the minister, Professor Julius Sarwolo, is actually going across the country right now, inspecting the renovation work that is going on. As we speak right now, he's in the southeast, Maryland County, where he will be for a week or two before moving into Grand Gila. So we are happy to say public high schools are being renovated, better environment. I too have been in the field. I went to Sofini High School. And the kids were so happy. The entire roof has been removed and changed. Children told me how it used to rain on them. Now it's not raining on them anymore. They can go to class. I went to Kidinja public school, public high school. The school was vulnerable to theft. Now they have refenced the entire school. They fixed the basketball court. They've done so much that just with this grant we've received. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. And remember, we will not solve all the problems one time. We will solve it incrementally. But the message we keep pushing is progress is being made. And you can see for yourself. Sometimes don't let somebody tell you. Men lie, women lie, but facts don't. The facts never lie. I don't care what anybody say. The facts is the facts. You cannot alter the facts. And the fact is there is this movement and there's improvement that is ongoing. The second thing I want to do is we've complained and we've cried for the last 2-3 years, and this year, some of that tears have turned to joy. We have a shortage of teachers in the classroom. The last time the president said we short 6,000 teachers in the classroom. And so, but what the president got the money for, he got it for us. The president will not say something that his lieutenant didn't tell him. We told him that, which some people know, how you know? Yeah, we know that because we've done a key major analysis of the sector. Our shortage, as a matter of fact, we've recognized that it's even more than 6,000 now. Because we're not only talking about the absence of teachers, we're also talking about the presence of unqualified teachers. We got to plug all of those out of the system if the system is to be better. But we've made we've asked and we've pleaded this year in the national budget, the legislature and the executive branch combined have provided an additional $4 billion that will go towards hiring more teachers in our classroom. So $4 million, new money, not old money. $4 million new money was approved in this year's budget to hire teachers. So we have embarked on the process working with the Civil Service Agency to employ 2,000 new teachers on the payroll. But we want to make it clear that we are prioritizing volunteers. Those people who've been teaching in our classroom, many of them been doing it for free, some of them been doing it for years. We will prioritize them before bringing in new teachers. But even doing that, we will still take into consideration credentials. Because you've been helping, you still have to have the proper credentials to be placed on government payroll. So that's good for the sector, that's good for the system, that we've gotten $4 million additional dollars to go towards teachers on the payroll, because that's one of the biggest concerns. It's not a journalist that have stopped me to talk to us and not asking for volunteer teachers. 2,000 of them will go on payroll this year. Yesterday, we passed a mandate, and I got up this morning and my face is on the front page of 19 newspapers. So let me just explain that mandate this morning and why we passed that mandate. And the question is, do you want to decentralize education? Yes. We want to decentralize. What decentralization does not mean we don't pay attention to the specific details of what's happening. And even when you decentralize and you recognize there are issues, you should go back to the table and be able to redesign, redeploy, so you can be more effective. And one of the things that was done in the past was to allow DOs and CEOs to appoint and transfer teachers at the county level. We recognize in the last year or so that that process, while some people are doing it the right way, others are abusing it. So what we've now said is for you to appoint, transfer anybody at the county level, you should liaise with the central office. The reason for that is because most of what we are seeing now, in terms of changes being made, some of them are personal. Unlike you, so I'm moving from the classroom, I also matter what point. It's happening all in the county. You know, you get something to a family member of mine and I'm upset, then I remove you. So now, before you are transferred or dismissed at the county level, we want EOs to send a communication to central office with reason. We want you to provide reasons, because you don't let John doesn't give you the right to fire John or transfer John to a place where John ain't able to go and John have to resign. So we want you to provide reasons, and that reason will be considered. If the reasons are legitimate, we will allow you to do your transfer or to do the dismissal. If it's not, we will reverse the decision, or we will not allow you to make the decision. And that is a cooperation and coordination between central office and with our EOs in the field. Some people say it's a violation of decentralization. No, it's not. It's an improvement of decentralization. Decentralization is not meant to be totally hands-off and allow people, because some people use power correctly, others abuse it. So to prevent abuse, you want to be able to supervise authority that you give people. You'll be surprised your own friend get power, he start treating you like you never did it before. I know everybody there will not experience it. The person you and you are going every day eating, drinking your liquid, you get power the next day, and you speaking and you say hi. You get it, the law. You better when you tell them, you call and answer your phone call. Power has this way of corrupting people. And we want to ensure that that doesn't affect the education sector. If somebody merit a position, they should be there. If that person does something wrong and it requires us removing or dismissing, then we also do so. So that is the reason why, as acting minister, I passed that mandate yesterday, and that mandate took immediate effect, and we started getting calls. We've already started getting hundreds of calls and complaints, and we will look into all of them. Going forward, we are going to do what we call a transfer window. We will set a time period where transfer can be done. When we open the transfer window, all transfers that comes to the central office will be reviewed and be executed. When that transfer window is closed, no transfers will occur until the next transfer window is open. No different for professional soccer. You can see how transfer time, Madrid or Barcelona, you can transfer players. You can do transfer all doing it here. So the same thing we'll do now. We'll have a transfer window, and when we announce that transfer window, all transfer will be considered in that window. After that window closes, that the next year before you do transfers. We want to protect the hardworking teachers that are in our class. Last but not the least, the thing that is making airwaves across the country, the National Teachers Award. I will lead on the topic, then I will pass it on to my two docs to come and give you the intricacies, the details about the program. Every one of you are present here today because a teacher touched you. If you sit down and think about it, some teacher, maybe it was in the first grade, second grade, or fifth grade, took interest in you. And because of that, inspire you to be where you are. It is time as a country that we create heroes and role models that are teachers. Our children should not only praise Ashiki. We should ensure that we are praising those hard-working people that are in our classroom, sacrificing daily. No teacher that I know, including myself, and next year will take me 20 years in education, works for 40 hours. No teacher, no good teacher works for 40 hours. They are they doesn't work for teachers. Teacher leave school, they go home, they got to grade papers, they got to do lesson plan. Teachers work hundreds of hours. And for many teachers, I don't know too many teachers that will tell you today, I got into teaching because I wanted to be a multi-millionaire. When you see these educators that are sitting here, who've been in the classroom for decades, it's a passion to change life. These are architects. Dr. Dersley, Dr. Cassell, they are architects, but they're not building houses. They are building people, they are building minds. And when you have architects who have passion for the job, it is time as a country we start to reward them. The National Teacher Award aims to do just that. So we are going to do a process where each county will select the best teacher. So we have 50 counties, right? So each county will get the best teacher. So Grange will have best teacher, San will have best teacher, and every best teacher will win a prize of $100,000 at grade level. So the 15 persons that 1.5 million. Then we're also going to elect the best principals as school administrators across the country. So 15 principals will be also elected, and each of those principals will receive the amount of 300,000 Liberian dollars, because they are administrators and they have broad scope of responsibilities. Then the national competition will take place. When the national competition takes place, we are going to get one teacher of the year who will win a prize of 1 million Liberian dollars and a brand new house, a 2-bedroom house, brand new house, built for that teacher. We are doing this so teachers can be motivated. So a teacher somewhere in a village in Liberia will say, look, I will do my best to win that award. And teachers will improve in terms of lesson delivery, ethics in the classroom, punctuality, all of the different things that makes a good teacher. We want to see our teachers start to elevate their work, and we want to honor and we want to give them the due recognition that is required. And somebody asked, I was on OKFM yesterday. You had that to be free and fair. You're getting their family members. No. That is why you see people like Dr. Cassell here. The ministry put together an independent committee, and that committee job is to make sure that there's no external interference, that this will be done transparently and on the basis of merit. That's why the names that you're hearing on the National Teachers Committee Award are people that I've taught some of you, even in this room, when you were in kindergarten. Dr. Cassell, who is the dean of the Education College at the University of Liberia, is on that committee. The focal person on that committee is Dr. Bonnie. We have the former president of the Stella Marie Polytechnic, Sister Mary Lorraine, who is also on that committee, and many more experienced educators. The ministry not doing this election. And the ministry, we're not picking, we want to call the people there and tell them, say, we choose the person. We respect them too much to disrespect them. So the ministry will be hands off. These very distinguished statesmen and women who have served the education sector will do this transparently, and somebody will be getting a house and $1 million on August 24th, Flag Day. It is on August 24th every year, starting from this year, that award will be presented. We didn't do this alone. We have partners. We have banks. The Millennium Construction Company is the one who is providing the house. If you are going to Ralphie Highway, if you see a new estate being built there, it is the Millennium Construction Company. They are providing the house for the teachers. We've signed a 5-year relationship agreement with them and others, LBDI, other banks, and most sponsors are coming on board to ensure that we provide this award to few very rewarding people. So the details of how you can get nominated, selected, what are the credentials, criteria, let me turn over to that. So Dr. Cassell will come up here and give you a lot of details with Dr. Bode. Dr. Cassell. Oh, one thing, that's all. Before that comes the last thing, we wanted, and I brought a copy for you to see, and the book catalyzed. We have reintroduced civics education in our school, and civics, you see the title, it says, for you, democracy and governance. So civics is now being taught from 1st grade to 6th grade. And what civics, you know civics. Civics is going to teach Liberian citizens what it means to be a citizen. From grade 1 to grade 6 going forward, you know, we had civics in school before. Yeah. Then we took it out of school. Now we brought civics back to school. And grade 1 to 6 will be doing civics. This is grade 4. It talks about the different functions of government functions. When you get copies of this, you will love it. It's befitting that on the day where we all give Dr. Amos Sawyer a standing, I won't say ovation, but respect, that I'm showing you this today. This book was led and written by Dr. Amos C. Sawyer. He worked with the ministry for the last 3 to 4 years, and he was not alive to see us pull it up. All the work that we did, Dr. Sawyer was so into this because he wanted Liberian citizens. You know, every Liberian know that right. Every one of us know our right. It is time we also understand our responsibilities. We have rights, but we have responsibilities as citizens. And Dr. Sawyer really wanted civics to be the foundation for which all Liberians understand your rights and your responsibilities. So the civics books are out. You can start by the ministry. If we give you copies, we 1 to 6, and you can see. So, for example, the National Election Commission, what is the responsibility of the National Election Commission, the different forms of government, the role of the executive, the judiciary, and the House of Representatives, how many members are there, the term limits, what is, all of those things are in the civics books, so our citizens now will understand the democracy and what's needed to protect it. So, Dr. Kasser. Thank you.
This is for those of us that are shouting. Good afternoon. Somebody was talking about what I'm the Cassell that was killed or his brother. Well, as they say, I'm Cecilia Cassell. I'm in education and now a politician. And I will never ever be jailed because I won't do things that will cause me to go to jail. He is my brother. But he's not. Let me make that clear. I don't know him. Okay, today we are talking about teachers. We are talking about motivating teachers. And when I was asked, I'm the national chair on this committee, and then we have co-chair by the Principal Association, we have Sister Lauren and others on this committee. There is time for everything. When I was asked to join this committee, I said, well, I spent many years in the classroom from kindergarten level straight to the level in the University of Liberia. I never had an opportunity, but at least somebody will be blessed to receive $1 million Liberian dollar with a house. That is a blessing. That person is sitting somewhere, and the person doesn't know that he or she will win this prize. Now the process is very, very transparent. The minister said almost everything that I have to say, so I will just brush here and there. There are 32 awards. We have 15 for the county best teacher. In each county, we are collecting, people are applying. We are trying to avoid, as he said, the deal doesn't like you, and you give the application, you throw it in sending it in the trash basket. We don't want that to happen. We want you to send the application to us. So for now, we are not collecting it at the level of the county. Maybe we will decide that later. So we are receiving applications per county. You apply, we have it online. You apply online, you receive the applications from each county, and then we set up a team, independent team, to go through the applications at the level of the county. And then you select one person as the county best teacher. So we have each county best teacher will receive a prize, as he said. These 15 teachers will now come at the national level, and we are looking for one person among the 15 persons, one best teacher. So they will also go through the process, and then we have one teacher that will be named county best teacher. That person will receive the presidential best teacher award. President George Manuel Weah Best Teacher Award. Then we also have 15 counties, and these counties have school principals. These principals will be vying for county best principal or school administrator award. The winner from each county will also vie for the national Best Principal or School Administrator Award. That award is named after the minister, is called the Minister of Education Best School Administrator or Principal Award. So we have the National Best Teacher Award, we have the County Best Teacher Award, we have the National Best Principal Award, we have the National County Best Principal Award. So there are 32 or 15 for principals at the county level, 15 for teachers at the county level, and 1 each at the national level. We call you here, we want you to keep spreading the news far and wide, because we want somebody way in a village to hear about this and then apply. We want more applications. If we can see up to 15, 20, 25,000 applications, we'll be very happy. We don't want to just have 500 and then it will be like we are joking. So we call you here this afternoon to take the message. When you are reading your news, put it on your news. As you go from village to village and you have people doing interview or whatever, you are always on the front. So you please spread the news for us that this is coming up. The application process is started on the 1st of March. Today is the 24th. We are not receiving many applications. So we want you to help us. We want the press to help us carry the news. We may extend the time because of the flow of applications, but we need and discuss that. So we are counting on you to help us get the message far. Be assured that this is fair. Many of you don't know me, but those that know me will know that I'm not Jesus, but I like to see the right thing done. So you won't just see me moving in public because I don't want people to say, oh, we know. Don't know me. But when you see me, then it's serious. So we are serious about this. We ask you to help us get the message across. We have flyers that we send out. We are trying to work on more flyers, bringing in teachers that talk some of you, so we can spread the news forward. Thank you, and I'm waiting for question and answer if you have. Thank you.
All right. Let me say good afternoon and observe all the protocols. I'm deeply honored to be here. The last time I was in this place was a decade plus ago as a reporter. And today I'm excited that I'm returning in another capacity in service to country. So we are very happy to be talking about particularly education today, because education is so vital. We don't need to be told. All of us have ascended to the level we are because of education. And the more emphasis we place on education, the more transformation we are to see in different sectors of the society. And we can boldly say that education today is better than education yesterday. With the interventions being made, we are seeing progress gradually. And there are a lot of things that are happening, as the minister said. We are talking about the National Teachers Award. I just want to add to what has been said, that this is so critical and is first of its kind in Liberia, for us to be recognizing people who are helping with the transformation of the nation. The work our teachers are doing, other sectors people are working, but that is key because these people who are working in these sectors are all products of teachers. So it is time for us to begin to not allow the sacrifices, the midnight hours and different things that have been done by our teachers to go unnoticed. So this is meant to motivate them, to inspire them, to tell them that we appreciate them, we care about them, and that it's time for them to do more for the nation. So this award is open to all schools. I just want to emphasize that. So from K to 12, from nursery, let me say from nursery to grade 12, once you are a teacher in the Republic of Liberia, you have the privilege to be a part of this national award. You have the chance to apply. It's done in ways because we want to give everybody the chance to be a part of it. So you can send in your application, which has some other information, including recommendation that comes along with that. And as it has been assured, definitely this is going to be very open and transparent to ensure that the process, whoever emerges as winner, will be that deserving person that all of us will be celebrating. So we'll respond to other questions that will come, but we want to encourage all the teachers across the nation. This is your time. It is an opportunity for you to be recognized, to be noticed. It may be the best privilege you may have in your entire lifetime. I mean, to come at the national level to be recognized by the president, the government of Liberia, and to be celebrated. So thank you so much for the platform. The committee is looking forward to that. The application currently is being done online because we want to ensure that each person can send their information directly, and there can't be anything that could stop it. Of course, the committee is reviewing this aspect of the process, but we want to make sure whoever is desirous of participating in the process of the application has the chance to send in their application. So again, I think it's time in Liberia that we celebrate our teachers. Whatever you can do to motivate, to encourage, we want to send out a message. The message is that our teachers are very critical. We are demanding more from our teachers. We want them to continue to sacrifice, to do more for the system, and different things have been put in place for that to happen. So it is just incumbent upon us as well to be able to do something to support the work that they are doing. So again, thank you very much, and we are open to responding to questions that you may have regarding the award and other issues regarding education. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Barry. You know, when a journalist stands before a microphone, he wants to lead and he still wants to talk. Thank you. His standing before you is a motivation for all of us. From the first studio as a journalist, only a doctorate degree, you too. So you see, when Councillor Tua came here and I said constructive journalism, you see your friends in the society, and then you decide to follow. Today he's a councillor. I'll be councillor. Yeah. So today we're talking education. Dr. Nelson, Councillor Tua, Honorable Dr. Caxel, Dr. Bori came here, talk about the reform in our society. And I know those of us who have our parents who are in the teaching field listening across the country, and it's so good that we want to thank the ELBC for carrying it live. Because people are listening to us across the country. And I know the competition will be so hard. Today we also have another reform coming into place at the university by NAFA. And Dr. Nelson also talked about, I wonder, this is an opportunity for some of us, especially so for you, that the School of Medicine now is coming from, anyway, that will come back from 9 years to 7 years, and you don't have to go through that long rigmarole and what have you. And I'm listening to Councillor Tua also talking about, the school is concentrating, is thinking about introducing the doctorate program. And I think we'll be the first student. So, I mean, the university and the education ministry, so much more is being done in our country. And so when people, you give presents, you give flower to whom the flower is due. So Dr. Nelson, Councillor Tour, Dr. Kassel Gori, we want to thank all of you so very much. I would like me invite another program that is coming to the University of Nigeria. This time you now see them on the water. You see them, anyway, you talk more about that. I'm going to say, my brother, please come and talk more about the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me use this occasion to thank the Micat family. For me personally, this is my first appearance at this first living. I know I've been here on several occasions, but personally, this is my first appearance. And I want to be grateful and thankful to the Micat family, my colleague, big brother, Jalawa Tumbo, from all the way down the line flag. And let me also say thanks to Dr. Nelson and the folks from the University of Liberia and big brother from the Ministry of Education. Like our host has informed you, today is Education Day. And so our presence here is not to tell you how many pages we have orders, how many keynotes we have on our orders, but to support the education program in our country. And the president of the university informed you, and I am grateful that as a country we are now shifting our curriculums in a direction that will be able to fall in line with the existing realities when it comes to job market, nationally and internationally. We think this is the best time so that we are able to shift from the old method of just putting graduates and find it difficult to catch up with the current realities and shifting your curriculum in a way that when people graduate, there are jobs available for them. And we say thanks to Dr. Nelson and his team for looking at the direction. I mean, fisheries could be one, but there are a lot of other programs now that are coming online at the university. And accounting or management and stuff, look at the current prevailing situations in the country, internationally, where the demand or the labor market demand is. Programs have been provided for the areas, we can take advantage of that. And so for us at the Fisheries Authority, we thought it was important to look into such direction. You know what the Fisheries Authority have been doing over the last 4 years since this administration took over. At least we can probably say if not more than 80 or 90% of our population now understand what we mean by fisheries. In the past, I thought, or I believe, people believe fisheries were just about the people that have the canoes, our crew people. Today, that history is different. You have a total transformation in the fisheries sector. Today, we have a huge contribution from the fisheries sector supporting our national budget. Today, we have attracted huge international support to the fisheries sector. We are also in line developing our local fishermen and sustainable managing our fishery resources. And I want you to get this. Sustainable management of our fishery resources is very key. we cannot do this, or we don't have the requisite capacity to sustainably manage our official resources. And if we cannot sustainably manage our official resources, I can assure you, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, we'll be here crying, we don't have fish in our waters. The people that go fishing are the people with the practical hands on. Their concern is to go and get fish. If you don't have people to regulate them, they can use any method because they want to get fish. And that is the necessity of an authority to be able to regulate that sector. Because fish is a major component in dietary or agricultural process, and it is very essential to the survival of human beings. And so this government is not taking it lightly. And so we at NAFA thought that with the expansion we are going through, the opening of the sector, what can be done to sustain all of the gains that we are making? If currently you have few people with competent knowledge of the sector just stationed at NAFA, and maybe in the next 10 to 15 years, these people work away, what will happen to the sector? And so we sat down, strategized, thanks to our boss, who is also a product of the University of Liberia, being very far-sighted. And the decision was reached that we have a funding from the World Bank, 40 million, all of you are aware that the web publicized. And there was a need to put in the capacity building. And capacity building should not just be about sending our staff all over the country to go and learn and come back. Then we send the person of the country, you may not be able to send 4 or 5 persons. And if 4 or 5 persons come and say that knowledge is not being transferred. And so what happens is retained, and that man goes, automatically there's a gap. And so the decision was reached that we work with the nation's premier university to be able to introduce a fishery science degree program where those that have the desire of entering the fishery sector based on what they are seeing currently, based on the transformation taking place, they can now have a lead. You don't have to be struggling around looking for scholarship to go to Iceland, a very cool place. You don't have to be struggling looking for scholarship to go to Korea. You can acquire that knowledge right here and help the country. We think it's important because the sector is open. We have the stock assessment coming up. That is to be able to assess the capacity of our fisheries resources. Currently, in my mind, I think we are under exploiting our resources because we don't have sufficient data to inform our decision. And based on international regulation, when you have insufficient data, you cannot just go above and indiscriminately license vessels to come and fish. Because they are also concerned about the SDG 017, how to provide food for the people. And so because of that, we thought it was important that we start to build the capacity of our people. When we have done the stock assessment, we should have done the stock assessment, it will inform our decision on a lot of other fisheries that we are now opening for the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years. When you open the fisheries, people will come, international companies will come. When these companies come, they need manpower. And so you don't want to be in a situation where when you are expanding and people come, you have lack of manpower, and you have to be taking people from outside to come and benefit from the resources that Liberians should be benefiting from. And so we thought it was important to work with the university authority. Thankfully, the bank accepted this proposal because it thought it has a long and far-reaching economic gain for the country. So we have been engaged with the university authorities, and through this project, a $1.2 million has been set apart to support the opening of the fishery science degree program at the University of Liberia. This funding will focus on two areas, basically training and infrastructure. Training will mean to prepare the teaching staff, to prepare those that will be imparting knowledge, developing of the curriculums. Thank God, visual education here, because everything we got to be in line with visual education curriculum. And today's education day, so half of that one will go toward that process. You need to be able to prepare the staff, the administrative staff, the technical staff. Everyone is supposed to be involved in ensuring that their degree come, their program come in full swing. The other component will focus on developing the infrastructure, the building that will host this program. The University of Liberia has provided to us the old agriculture building at the Fender campus. And part of the funding will be used to refurbish that facility and put in place the necessary equipment that you need when you are doing such a program. You have lab, everything needed to ensure that you have a full-fledged fishery science program to be placed in that facility. So you don't need to send people to Ireland, like I said, you don't need to send people to Korea, you don't need to send people to the Asian countries, China, to go and get certificate program, to go and get AA degree, to go and get bachelor degree. No, you will have that right here at the University of Liberia. Subsequent time, other university can also come online. We started with the state university because this is government owned. And this is where our aims are reached for now. And we show, because we want more people to get involved with it, and with the university's free tuition policy, so that none of our fellows who don't have the means can be able to benefit from this program. And so, this is the University Authority area where we'll get touched on it briefly. They will be offering certificate. In the fisheries area, we have the formal and the informal sector. Okay, like for some of us, we are in the informal sector. The informal sector are those that do the practical work. For instance, the people that are doing the aquaculture area, they have the formal sector also in the aquaculture, but they have the informal sector. People that build the fish pond, you need to be able to train them. That man may not necessarily want to go and get a degree, or maybe he doesn't have the capacity to go and save for another 6 years to get a degree. But he then run the fishing area, he just wants to enhance his knowledge and get additional information based on current realities. You can go there and get certificate. You still have a space in the fisheries labor market. There are some others who also just want to go for short time, they won't take too long. You also get opportunity to get AA degree, and then a full-fledged bachelor degree program will also be offered. So we think this is an opportunity for even our future folks. Some of you who involved with fisheries, maybe you just learn doing it that way, and you want to be able to to allow generation behind you to keep involved, there's an opportunity now. And this time around, they will be left behind with something concrete to help this country, the family, and the wildlife to protect and sustainably manage our fishery resources. We think this is important for us, and we are glad and happy to the leadership of His Excellency and the secondary management team headed by the Final Minister, who negotiated with them to afford the opportunity to get this 40 million to invest in our fishery sector. There are a lot of other areas the 40 million we focus on, but because we are here to do education, we deal with the education aspect specifically. We'll be coming online of a fisheries degree program, degree certificate program. We have the means to be able to do all of this program one. This program commences at the University of Liberia. Very soon, the team from NAFA and Dalhousie University are working with the curriculum aspect. We also have a team working with the infrastructure component of it to be able to start a renovation or reformation work on the facility that was provided to be able to be used for the program. And we think no matter where you are, if you have a desire and passion to go into fishery science, and you've been thinking, how can this be done? How can I get this? And you've been told that the only way you can get it is water that you say you have a relief now. We have brought it to your doorstep. Thankfully, the University of Liberia is tuition free. You know what it means. All you need to do is to take the regular entrance, pass, and you get over 2,000 clothes or something supposed to pay. You have an opportunity to have a degree program. The certificate program is different. The university at subsequent time will inform you on the requirement of obtaining the certificate and even the degree program in line with their own system. But that is our own way of looking at how we can complement the education sector so that we don't have a knowledge gap in the sector, so that we shall have left there is a gap. All of the gains we can make require because we don't have people to carry on what we have put in place. I want to say thank you. Thanks to my boss for allowing me to come here to provide the brief information to support the University Authority and provide you information on this fisheries science degree program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. We've come to the juncture where we take questions and answers. You know the regular method, so just come up on the platform. Today we also being carried live on LNTV, so those of you who in your different offices can also catch us there. So family, just have an array of
Generally, informing that Lux FM was doing live.
Lux FM on all university platforms.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So that's another information.
Yourself.
Thank you so much. My name is Maurice Oleti, and I work for OPF. My first question goes to the Ministry of Education data. You talk about 2,000 teachers to be employed by the government through the Ministry of Education. The last time that Sarwolo came here, and he said that there are a lot of teachers in the classroom who are there without degrees. So I want to know how you're going to do the end of selection process in terms of employing these people. I want to hear about that. And also, you talk about the awards that will be given. I want to know whether this information is reaching to the leeward areas, because, for example, I'm from Sinai. You got some places called Duke Weekend. You got places called and some of those places, and you know, people are there. ERBC can reach there, to be honest. Yes, ERBC can reach to the places. And you find some of the radio stations that are in the counties, and you know, some of the radio stations can reach there. So I don't know whether the teachers in the leeward counties, they are aware of this particular stuff. And my question go to the fisheries sector. You talk about your program that you come here with at the UL. That's a very important program. But I want to ask you this question. There are people on the St. Paul River shooting, I don't know how they call it, dynamo. And who was sleeping at night because I'm closer to St. Paul River. You hear the dynamo, boom, boom. Yeah. And they're killing fish. So I want to know whether you know about people shooting dynamo, and if yes, what are you doing about it? If no, and what are you doing about it as well? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Prof. and I report for Fabric FM and TV. Thank you. Today is Education Day. Quite incredible. To the ministry, to Dr. Nelson, I think we can start from there. On the University of Liberia, prior to the pronouncement of the free tuition policy, the infrastructure at the university was quite good. The buildings, the bathrooms, they were relatively good. Yeah, but now, since the pronouncement of the free tuition policy at the University of Liberia, the university is in a complete deplorable state from the buildings, from the bathrooms. It said that the free tuition policy is hampering the operations of the university in terms of maintaining the campuses of the university. That's one. And recently, the University of Liberia, on social media, and even on other local radio stations, were heavily criticized about the graduation of Major Koti, Monrovia City Mayor. People were concerned, they went ahead and did some investigation. We want to know in this public mind whether the University of Liberia feels somehow different about putting out a graduate, and that person is being publicly criticized by colleagues. Even one of the alumni of the institution vowed to denounce his degree, though he hasn't done it, Martin Colley. So you can just speak about that. To the Ministry of Education, thank you again. We are on public and private again. You talk about you spoke about your renovation program across the country. I want to know your targeted schools and areas that you're targeting, you're beginning from, because we have, the country is large, we have so many public schools all over the country. Are you just going to start from everywhere at the same time or simultaneously? That's one. And secondly, your award program, is it for both public and private school teachers, or are you going to narrow this just to public schools? Because during the coronavirus period, President, we have instituted an honorarium package that went to only public school teachers. So we really want to know whether private school teachers will be included in this. To the national featuring, thank you so much for the program. Like you said, Liberia is a short of people in the featuring area. So instituting this new program at the University of Liberia will help the country. But I am concerned also, this is a new course that will be taught at the University of Liberia. Where are you going to get your teachers from?
Thank you. My name is Elijah Pine, and I'm the Prof. Capital. My question to the President of the University of Liberia, Dr. Nelson. thank you for coming to this forum, which is very important as it relates to the e-portal or the online study. Have you been able to review the entire e-portal process? Because we noticed that I'm a very student of the University of Liberia. We have some break-in. Sometimes there is no way of accessing the site. Have you been able to work with these technicians to work on the site better? Now we are going into another semester. Another one has to do with the current increase in the registration process. Nowadays, you notice that when we go to register, we have people, whenever you plan your courses and you'll be charged with the registration process, sometimes it's $7,000 and sometimes $5,000 is your entire bill. But we are told that the president says every student attending the University of Liberia to pay at least $2,550 as registration fee. Why is it not increasing this time around?
My name is Renzi Esquia, and I write for the Liberia Speaking. So thanks so much to Dr. Nelson and Councilor Norris. My concerns had to do with the University of Liberia. The professor talked about introducing another college. And in our country, and he also talked about the importance of the e-learning or in the University of Liberia, where the university raised up thousands of students in terms of e-learning as issues before. Now, in our country right now, there are a lot of students or graduating from high school who have the passion for ICT also, but they don't have the capacity or the financial abilities to do that. Is the university thinking about introducing ICT programs at the University of Liberia?
Our question goes to the president of the University of Liberia. So we believe the University of Liberia is a medium in acquiring quality education. And some parts of last week we experienced several posts regarding a deplorable subject verb agreement and gets errors from one of the few of the lecturers. Are you comfortable with that? To the deputy from the Ministry of Education. You said the Ministry of Education is lacking about 6,000 instructors, and you are currently opening vacancy for about 2,000, which is not half of what you need. How do you reconcile that? And then what's the procedure for teachers who are interested in buying or going through the award process? Thank you. Teachers that are interested.
I have one question that goes to listen to you trying to talk about the arrest and the video in America, but I think there are more important information that I put here out there. My question is, there is this latest information circulating in the local dailies and on social media regarding the shutting down of the Ramos International Airport at 12 mainland. Can you tell us why this is happening at this time or confirm this particular information?
My name is Charles Johnson. I work for the office. My question goes to the University of Liberia officials. In the past, usually the issue of instructional staff has always been a problem. And you are bringing more programs on board. How prepared are you when it comes to the issue of instructors? And to the Minister of Education, you talk about hiring 2,000 teachers. Is this across the country or one county? Thank you.
So thank you very much. So as has been the protocol for the platform guests here appearing, we'll go just in line. And to our platform guests answering your questions because of time, we ask that we put some summaries to our answers. So I'll start with Minister Tombo.
So again, Well, my distinguished colleague asked a question. You asked a wonderful question. And the good thing about it is that you're gonna have to read in the ABC. And you just talk about at this time. So the best thing for me to do the justice to the Liberian people is to do the ABC. Accurate, balanced, and they check. So once that is done, you get it, the needed answer for it. Once I do the necessary check, you get it answer from it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those wonderful questions. According to the information that the infrastructure was good before the tuition-free policy. I'm not sure where you're getting that information from, but it must be far away from the truth. For the past 20 to 35 years, the government of Liberia has now invested in the maintenance and operation of facilities at the University of Liberia. Before the tuition-free policy, I share with you the struggle we had running behind sponsors, caucuses, ministries, student groups to pay their registration fee. Even at that time, we still had the issue of infrastructural renovation and payment of fixing those facilities. But at that time, with our tuition we were collecting, we did minor renovation from time to time, but that was not the case for a major renovation at the University of Liberia. An infrastructural renovation or maintenance at the university, the reason why you are tying it in with the tuition-free policy, I don't know the reason why, but the reality that we know, because I've been at the university since 2007, I worked with Professor Hassan Conte, Dr. Emmett Dennis, Dr. Ophelia Weeks before I had the privilege to lead the university. There have been no substantive funding for the renovation infrastructure at the University of Liberia, which is far away from the whole issue of the tuition-free policy. And so we are blessed that this same government, through the instrumentality of His Excellency, Dr. George Manawia, the governor of Liberia, has made a decision for the first time after over 25 years to provide the funding necessary for the renovation of the 4 campuses of the University of Liberia, 4.7 million. We have not received that over the past 25 years, so it's very difficult to see this tuition-free policy came in 2018. How you can juxtapose that before that time, the infrastructure was good, and because of the tuition-free policy, it is bad. That assumption or that reasoning seems to suggest otherwise. And we are hoping, we are praying that the opportunity given to us by this government for the renovation of the 4 campuses of the university in the next year through the national budget will give us a new platform, create a new environment for teaching and learning at the university to be the best that it can be. And I want to make sure that tying the tuition-free policy with other things that happen at the university, at least this time around, with the free tuition policy, we have been getting the funding for the free tuition policy. I have a list of over 200 of individual citizens of the Republic, institutions that owe the university when we did not have the free tuition policy. One of these days, in the agreement we'll provide, we'll publish that list. When I became president, it was an area of 1.7 million, just from tuition and graduation fee. And so I think the information, the facts are not clear. So just suppose that infrastructure was good when there was no free tuition policy, and it is bad because of the free tuition policy. Secondly, criticism of the graduation because of our student, our recent graduate, Jefferson T. Koji. The University of Liberia is an academic institution. People attend the university for different reasons to prepare themselves for the future. When people graduate, it is their right, their human right, put it that way, to say how they feel. You know, Liberia is a democratic state, nation. But it is one thing to share what you feel or what you perceive. It's another thing when the facts are provided by those who run the academic institution. We are not in a competition with any graduate of the university for their perspectives from time to time and for the operation of the university. What is clear is that before they became graduate of the university, they drank from the fountain of those who are lecturers at the University of Liberia. The degree they carry today was because of the signature of those who are administrators of the University of Liberia. So the reality is, Jefferson Tamakoji passed the university entrance exam. He was a student, and now, with the blessing of God, he graduated with honors from the University of Liberia. We did our investigation. We have published a report. Those who are not satisfied, it is their responsibility to do what they can do. If they choose to denounce their degree, it will be the utilization of their human rights. And but let it be known also that besides individuals having the right to do the denouncing of their degree, even the university, after many years of graduation, if we got new information that say otherwise, we have the authority to revoke the degrees of those who are graduates of the University of Liberia. We've done it before, and we can do it even as we go to the future. It should be known to all of us. Do we have teachers for fishery? Yes. We have more than 10 people already prepared in fishery science at the University of Liberia, at the National Fishery Aquaculture Authority. They have individuals who have studied with graduate and postgraduate degrees that are ready so that we can provide the opportunity for those who are interested in fishery science at the University of Liberia. I'm happy to share with you that a few weeks ago, before we started the commencement convocation, the University of Liberia launched the Department of Computer Science and Information Services at the University of Liberia in the College of Science and Technology. We are ready to provide ITC opportunity, computer science opportunity for those young people attending the University of Liberia who are interested in computer science and information technology at the University of Liberia. I will stop there and invite my friend, Councillor Twelve, who will deal with the online, the issue of registration, and the issue of subject grade. We don't have teachers at the university. We have lecturers and professors. Good to be clear that when you say teacher, you talk about high school. So maybe you want to talk about lecturers, then we'll get to make that clear about Professor and Councillor Twelve. We'll speak to the other three questions. Thank you very much.
You guys have you have spirited the president on his birthday. You know, he has this amazing saying that you should not make your birthday lazy. And the way he has answered your questions was so much with his usual vivacity and energy. Clearly, it shows that the birthday will not be lazy. But you got to go away from him. Okay, look, we are always pleased to talk about the University of Liberia as the nation's highest institution, and a lot is expected of us, so to speak. And so we don't rebuff people who criticize us. No, we take those criticisms and strive to make the necessary adjustments where necessary, and we encourage criticism. It makes us better. It makes us, run the university effectively. At the same time, the university is a huge community. Every time I hear, say, a student of the university who graduated and is writing on Facebook, I get a little bit worried. We get this every time. Someone will be in their graduation hysteria, rush to compose something on Facebook, and it will be often featured in all kinds of medical areas. I think last graduation was one particular student who did that, and Boom, go criticize the university. I mean, we're gonna put your money out there so they give you right subject matter. Yeah. But it's very concerning also when someone raises a claim that a lecturer is composing on Facebook whose grammatical construction is not respecting the norms of English. It's a concern. And we recognize in this country that there is a struggle, everywhere across every field of our society. Even we the journalists, we struggle, sometimes with our subject verb agreement, we struggle with our pronunciation, and it's, I guess, something that we all need to work on. At the university, we are currently engaged in a credential audit. We harm ourselves because people expect more of us. If we're going to be teaching students English or history, it has to be reflected both in terms of presentation, the writing. Dr. Castell is dean of our college education, and she's worked hard in insisting that students or who enroll in the college of education are taught the rudiments of English and express. So we'll take that we'll look at those posts, those lecturers who have done that. We call them in, and ask why. Maybe they're excited, it's very cool, but it's a concern, and we're doing our best to make sure we hire quality. And that is one of the things that the government has done now. Now the pay and remuneration and benefits of people who are working at the university, particularly our faculty, the government has increased it. So we do expect more from them. We do expect more from them. But the majority of the people who teach at the university are committed, they're working hard, and we encourage them to do more. In fact, during this commencement convocation, every now we have a new thing where we celebrate professors, lecturers, and others who publish. The president of the university launched this scheme last graduation. At this year's celebration, over 10 to 15 faculty members published in journal articles, and we recognize them at a scholastic honoring program. So we are committed to research, we're committed to teaching. The question about the e-learning, yes, the e-learning is a growing concern. We've invested some money in the e-learning infrastructure. We're not there yet. We are going to get better every year. We now have an ICT program now. The intention is, in as much as they will train young people who chose to pursue, their career in computer science, computer information system, it will also strengthen, our capacity in-house to deliver on the promises of IT education. So we continue to review it. There will be challenges, even in the United States or other places. Or even if you ask the deputy minister who runs a major ICT institution in this country, it's challenging. It's challenging. So we will continue to review our infrastructure, our programs to improve it. Those concerns are very legitimate, and we'll do our best. The last thing is about the tuition increment. We have never increased tuition at the university. In fact, we have a tuition-free policy. So when you do your billing on the e-portal system, you should be able to generate the bill that we're charging. If for any reason you have twice, that bill, then that's a problem. Either it's a technological glitch, or maybe in most cases, we are finding out students click twice, and then it automatically doubles. And so if you have that particular situation, please, come to us. But when you go to make your payment, obviously, we're not going to charge you extra. $2,000 2,550, depending on which college you're in, is the fee. You don't pay tuition at the University of Liberia, and we have not increased fees. If we do increase fees, we'll let you know, so to speak. So please, let it be clear. It's $2,250 around. How much is $2,250? How much is that? $50, right? Yes. So for less than $15 in the Republic of Liberia, in public institutions that provide undergraduate education, for under $16 US, you can get an academic education per a semester. If you do the math, if you do the comparison across the region here, there's nowhere. And since the pronouncement of the tuition-free policy, I have to tell you, our enrollment has jumped and it has remained steady. Whereas before we used to experience this huge influx of students billing, but then after the whole billing exercise is included, after the payment exercise is included, there is always this big drop. Students were not staying in school because now we know of that small amount of money. So the tuition-free policy has addressed a significant financial challenge that many of our students had. What we need to do now is to improve the other infrastructure that's going to complement the tuition-free policy. And that's exactly what the university is doing right now. We signed an MOU with our faculty. Remember, after the go slow, the administration and the government, represented by the Ministry of Finance. And in that memorandum of understanding, we agreed on a number of deliverables. A lot of the deliverables that are contained in an MOU focus on improving the infrastructure of the university. As the president said, that the infrastructure has been in decline. The moribundity and decadence of the current infrastructure on the University of Liberia did not start with the announcement of the tuition-free policy. No, the university was founded in 1951. For the most part, since Stratford Baylor University in 1951. It's been 70 plus years. We have not invested substantially on maintaining the infrastructure. Just to maintain the current infrastructure, and those infrastructure on campus, they're old. They're dilapidated. So we need to do a lot. So we've done some assessment of our current infrastructure. The terminal hall, for instance, we did an engineering infrastructure, and there is a report. It costs money just to maintain it. So it's financially intensive. But we are very glad that the Ministry of Finance, representing the government, is decidedly convinced and committed to supporting the infrastructure renovation plan of the university. And this MOU that lasts throughout this whole year identified key infrastructure on all of our campuses that we need to target. And then we go forward to now think about building new infrastructure. As we bring in more students, the demand on our infrastructure will be huge. So we are aware of all of those things and we need your support. We welcome your criticism, but make no assumption about our commitment to academic honesty and integrity. Make no mistake. When there is an allegation against a university faculty or a student, as in this case, we usually commission an investigation. We do this all of the time, by the way. However, this one, it appears because it involved a government official and it became sensationalized. But we do this all of the time. And the evidence that we look at is not probative enough. It wasn't strong enough to deny the student in question. And we can't act on the basis of public sentiment. No, we have to act on the basis of facts. We can't be carried away by what people are saying. No. We are an academic institution. We're supposed to be apolitical and neutral and fair. And we don't usually discuss student grade, we don't, because we have privacy issues. We have an FY law, that this ministry championed when I was here. And that law has 6 exemptions, and one of them is personal information. So it is illegal for any government institution or any institution that performs public functions that hold information that are personal people to just release it. All right? So it's wrong for a student grade sheet or ledger to go through social media. We are also investigating, why this is happening. So we don't come here all the time to respond to these things because it's basic. We just had a 102 commencement convocation. We have a college-based convocation, commencement convocation. It's a lot of work. So, I don't want to get started. Let me stop here.
Just to add a little bit to what both Doc and Council said. I used to lecture communications. I lectured communications in the States. When I first came home, I lectured communications here. Most of the older journalists amongst you, I taught them. People like Abraham Gosson, we are Joe Wonder, most of those older journalists, I taught them when I first came home. One of the biggest disadvantages to journalism, those of you who are practitioners of this field, it's been social media. It's been a gift and a curse. And the reason it's been a gift and a curse is because everybody now is a journalist. Once you pick up this phone, you post on social media, thousands of people see it. So every human being has become a journalist. So it is easy. And in communication, sensation is what most people look for. It's the sensation and the hype of the story, because that's what sells. So now we are sensationalizing a graduate because it's a government official. You were once made to believe that I didn't go to school. You know, just recently, I got no degree, but I was able to lecture in the greatest country in the world. That is a miracle. How are they that? Strange, yes, seriously. But that's what will happen when you are sitting in public space, and as public officials, we cannot react to those things. You react to those things, you only sensationalize it more. But academic, the fraternity, there are integrity issues there. And the president said it very well. My brother Norris said it too. We don't discuss grades. There are standards in place. When you want to go somewhere else to go do your, we communicate with institutions. If we have to do a transfer of your transcript, there are processes in place that protect your information. But that doesn't mean that anything is being hidden from the public. If it's you tomorrow, and many of you here tomorrow will be ministers or presidents of this country, you will also want that same respect afforded you. So, yeah, social media is beautiful. One click, you're gone. Let me answer these 2 questions. Choka, let me answer a question. Last question, last time, got out of context. So let me correct some of what you said. The 1 million the president gave the last time was not for public school teachers. So I want you to know that. The 1 million was for private school teachers, because when COVID hit and schools closed down, public school teachers were still receiving a salary because they are civil servants. So public school teachers never went without pay. The president graciously said it was mostly private school teachers who got put down. So he did that token for private school teachers. So it wasn't for public school. Just to make that clarity. Somebody asked about the National Teacher Award. It's for all teachers. All. ALL. Public, private, faith-based institution, whatever. Once you are a teacher and you are in the classroom, this award, this is from grade to 12th grade, if I'm accurate. Universities are not. So from kindergarten to 12th grade, if you're teaching in there, you meet the criteria. public, private, faith-based, or institutions. The 2,000 teachers we are putting on board this year doesn't fix all the problems, but it starts to address key issues. And the 2,000 teachers will be from all 15 counties. We're not going to take 2,000 teachers only from Montserrat. It will be all, but progressively, we're hoping next year more money is added in the budget. Then we put another 2,000, then another 2,000. So within time, we can solve the problem. But all the problems will be solved at the same time. Yeah, get everybody with $10,000 by the time you finish spending, you have a new problem. Exactly. So problems are there. We will take our time to solve it, but at least the public should be assured, and you guys should have the comfort to know something is being done. I also said the renovation, let me be clear again, of all public high schools. All public high schools, not all public schools. That means elementary, junior high is not being renovated right now. All public high schools, HIGH. Yeah, I don't emphasize now also. So there is nobody can say they didn't get it well. So as we speak, the renovation is already happening. It's not going to start. It has begun. So you can go in the field and check. The first grant has been released. We are doing inspection now. We are about to release the second grant. So the grant is in small stages. And the way this was done, it was not done by the Ministry of Education, no. The grant was given to the community. This was community engagement project. So the communities working with the schools in the community were able to work together. So every bank account that was open had the principal as a signatory, the president of the senior class as a signatory, the head of the community as a signatory. So the community-based approach allowed the communities to get involved with the renovation of their schools. And that was something that was insisted upon in the negotiation, that all of the procurement and the work shouldn't be coming from, just central. So none of that is going on. And another person asked about how teachers will be selected. Teachers will be selected through the application process. As said earlier on, volunteers will have first priority. That doesn't mean if I've been volunteering for 5 years, but I don't have no paper, no credential, but because I've been volunteering for 5 years, they'll put me on the payroll. No. If you've been volunteering, you will be on top of the bar. But at the same time, we will be vetting your credentials. And if you have the right credential, so if a volunteer that comes with all the credentials for a subject area, and a new teacher who is applying, the volunteer will have priority over the new person. Because the volunteer has been working in the classroom for many years for free. I hope you understand. So it doesn't mean that because you volunteer, that means automatically you get on the payroll. And the last question that I wrote down here says, okay, I think I exhausted. Thank you.
Okay, I think the last question from Fisher is the president answered that. So I will speak on the issue of the dynamite. This is one problem we have as a country. And let me say here emphatically that dynamite fishing is strictly prohibited. Dynamite fishing is strictly prohibited. Anyone caught doing so, he will have to use a rescue, and he can go to jail for that. The challenge are there. People that are involved with this, by some means, are being shielded by the community, they carry on the practices. We managed at some point in time to arrest some of them, but it is a challenge. We even established some, I call it community surveillance team. We have a hotline also for people to report the incident. What happened is that we normally collaborate with the Ministry of Justice, to the police, and that of the Coast Guard. But if we got a signal, for instance, somewhere in blue community, and we're informed that, oh, somebody, they are blasting or dynamite here, the time it will take us to inform the police, we don't have arresting power away. We don't have the capacity to go there and arrest anybody. We need to go there with police or even go down. So the time it will take us to go and get the police people to move there, that person escaped. So it's actually a problem. But we are working on a new strategy for that. We are establishing a national call center. Now we have a short code 6323. Just like you used to have in a Ebola town, where you have information, you call that number down, there are no calls to you, and then we can be able to have an immediate response to that. In the same way, we're working with the Justice Ministry to see how we can have some level of power. That when you inform us, we don't have to go to the police station, we can move on the scene immediately and have an arrest and get the police involved. But it is reporting where these things happen. The last time we were in Cloud Town, the people raised the same concern. I said, these people live here with you. When they are planning these things, we are aware. But you have the courage to say, don't call Nava and inform us. Inform us so that we can be able to address the situation before them. You allow the men to go and throw that in the water and damage the marine environment. When you blast that thing in the water, that whole place destroyed. Every living thing in that water died. The things that are supposed to maintain or keep the fish or marine resources in there, everything died. Besides that, it is personal and very dangerous for your health. We inform our people several occasions. We have created adequate awareness, because if you don't buy it from them, they will not go and do it. You have to stop encouraging them and help us in this process. If you know them, they live there, they take these things and carry their houses before they carry to the water. You see them, you have a hotline, inform us ahead of time. We will send people there, we can have them apprehended. If you allow it to be done, if you buy the fish from them, you are also encouraging them. And so, it is a collective process. Even though we are heading this, we are making effort to ensure we can continue it, but it's a collective effort. We cannot do it alone, because we don't have men to be man after man, all of the rivers in this country. We only rely on the community to be able to provide that information to us ahead of time. And if the community has a leadership, if there's a means that you can identify somebody, you want to hold the person until we get there, we encourage the community to do so. But it is dangerous, it is very bad for our health. Besides that, it is causing problems for structures that are along the areas. Because when you blast the vibration, it causes crack in the building for people. And so we're working with the Ministry of Justice to see how we can address this. We are now basically being on this. We have a team responsible for that. We have made some arrests. We have moved in some places where we deal with people involved with animal fishing. But it's important for the public to be aware that animal fishing is restricted, it is prohibited on our law. And if you are involved with it, you can go to jail for it. Besides that, the health implication, it is bad for your health to eat the fish that die by means of dynamite, because that fish is personal. to stay there with parties to give them an idea of complete their council. This is one of the ways we can develop council. So the public need to be aware that fish of salt is dangerous for consumption. If you are not willing to buy from them, they will not be encouraged to go and kill the animal. So we just want the public to be aware, wherever you find them, wherever you identify them, let us know, we'll move in. Do not wait until it is being thrown into the water. Even if it is done, you're able to get them and inform us. We'll come down with the police while we are working with the police to ensure that, the Minister of Justice, to ensure that we can have our power as well to apprehend people involved in this. Went to the LGA the last time or yesterday to work with them to see if we have a national call center so that you don't have a burden as citizens when you are calling for emergency or such. You call directly through your chat at short code to be available and readily available to arrest the situation in particular. Thank you.
So, thank you. Let me yesterday extend our thanks and appreciation to our platform guests that has honored our request to be here today. Times of very scarce commodity. I think the EOBC news is hallmark. To you, members of the Fourth Estate, thank you also for the continuous support of the Ministry of Information. We're grateful. The burden is not upon your shoulder to inform the public. As we've always said, we have a tripartite arrangement. The government of Liberia is the press and the people. Let's keep it in the spirit of development because this is all we need. So on behalf of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, this has been another round of our Thursday's press briefings. As you leave here today, it is in our spirit that we continue to support our national agenda for the development of our country. Thank you so much for coming. Until next Thursday, you have a pleasant weekend.